Hello, my name's Sue. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I painted this flower scene with just a credit card and Wallace Seymour Iron Plum paint, which I've fallen in love with. It's become my favourite paint. It's got all of these different tones in it. So this is going to be quite an abstract sort of picture. I've got a bit of greaseproof paper there in my hand. I'm just dabbing. I've dabbed into some wet paint and I'm just dabbing it in random fashions on the page. It's obviously going to give a hard line if I do that, so I don't want a hard line. I want it to be quite abstract and blurry, so I've got some spray water that I sprayed on there. And then I've rolled out the credit card. So chopped up a little bit of a credit card. I don't actually think it was a store card probably. And chopped it up into a little bit. And I'm just using that instead of a paintbrush just to get some sort of interesting edges and see what kind of marks I can get. So I had these dried flowers I've collected over the last few months. I've got them in a vase, so that was my inspiration. If I remember, I might actually put a picture up. But yeah, just see how I'm using the card. Like sometimes I'm sort of pressing it, sometimes I'm sort of scraping it. So this is just really to experiment with, see what different marks I can get. It's different flowers, so these are the flowers I'm doing now. They're sort of long and thin with many different like prongs and then 2 or 3 different sort of seed heads on, or it was I wish I knew the name of these plants, but there are a few different ones I was doing, and that's what I'm doing now. I couldn't get the seed heads sort of very well, or the flower heads. They're now seed heads, so I was using my paintbrush because I couldn't get the same effect that I wanted with my with the credit card. So mix it up as you need to do if you do this yourselves. If you do it, I'm really keen to see how you get on, because it's a really nice fun thing to do actually. It's sort of a no stress painting style. You can see because I've sprayed the paper with water. There's areas of it that, you can see there's quite a lot of water on the right hand side there. Where with this particular paint and pigment, where there's water, it sort of flows into that watery area and creates a different colour. It's really interesting. So going back with the greaseproof paper, and I'm just sort of twisting it around at the moment to try and get different effects. And these were the teasels. I think they're called teasels. I hope they're called teasels because I've called them teasels in the captions for the entire duration of the video. But they're really interesting plants. They look a little bit to me like artichokes. And so I keep going back, wetting the paper to get it a little bit more blurry. And I want to, like these teasels, they've got some interesting the needly bits that come out. So I'm just using the credit card, the side of the credit card now, there's the corner, just to pull the paint around, sort of quite a wispy manner to try and just illustrate that kind of effect. So I speed this up a bit here. You can see that I'm actually not going that fast. This is double speed. Yeah, and just going back through with the stems. So I did the stems in a sort of a different way. I didn't just pull it down. Like each time I'm doing this, I'm going back to my palette where I've got a reasonably watery mix of that paint. And I'm trying to get just different line qualities and different marks. I don't want the same. I'm just practicing, just playing around. So have a go yourselves if you do this, just playing around with, what happens if you use the corner of it? What happens if you pull the paint, like a pool of paint that's on your paper? What happens if you do that with your credit card, There are these sort of sepals around those teasels, so just trying to get those in with the paintbrush. I'm actually using a sword brush here as my favourite. It's De La Rowney 1/4 inch sword brush. And in the interest of mixing things up a bit, I'm using a toothbrush. So I've dipped that into my paint and I'm flicking it at a bit of an angle. This takes a bit of a knack if you haven't done it before, just to get some random little blobs and different dots and things. And I spread some of those out with the water spray. So it creates sort of some blurred, some are still going to stay crisp, just to create a little bit more interest in the background. So after it's dry, this is the best bit. I've put masking tape on, and the best bit is ripping it off. Although it can be the most stressful bit as well, because it sometimes rips up the paper. So here we go. So look at all of those different colours. It creates like sepia tones. It's got a blue. You get really some really strong blacks. It's a really lovely paint. I really can't recommend the Wallace Seymour Iron Plum paint enough. I'm going to do a series of 4. So I've done some trees. You might have seen that in a previous tutorial. This is the sort of flowers. I might do something with mountains next. So I want to get a series of 4. And once I do that, I will put them up on an Etsy shop yet to be created. And they'll be for sale. And I might make some cards up too. Who knows? So thank you so much for joining me. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments. And if you do try it, I'd love to see your results. So you can tag me on Instagram at suecooperartist.com. And thanks very much.